How's that? Is that working? Let's hope so. I hope you can hear me. I have no idea if you can. There's no point in having that. Ignore that. If anyone's watching and you fancy letting me know if you can hear me, that would be great. If you can't, shout. It's all very fresh, obviously. That's all right. I've been trying to get it up. You can hear me, brilliant. I've been trying to get the stream up on my laptop, but didn't like it for some reason. So I will try and schedule it on my laptop next time and see if it actually works. Hope everyone's well. Thank you for joining me on what is now becoming a weekly occurrence here on my Facebook page, which is basically a 20-minute live Q&A debrief. We can talk about Norwich City stuff, of course, because we've got a game tomorrow. We've just had a press conference. But likewise, anything else you want to talk about is all good. I'm trying to do these on each individual channel. I'm not trying to do them for very long, so it's only going to be 20 minutes or so. Depends how many questions we get in. Ask away, anything you want. You can say it, ask it, and I will do my best to answer if it requires an answer. It doesn't have to be about Norwich City, it can be about whatever you want. And we'll keep it reasonably tight, but we will be back again next week. I did one on Facebook, on my Facebook page on Wednesday. So I'll try and do them each week on a Wednesday on Facebook, and then try and do something for you guys here for YouTube. And then of course I'll be at the game on Saturday, Norwich playing Huddersfield Town at the John Smith Arena, or John Smith Stadium. I'll have a video verdict for you as normal, but I thought it'd be nice to do something live so we have some degree of interaction. So as I said, 20 minutes. Ask all the questions. The sooner you get them in, the more likely it is I'm going to answer them, because if you post them when we're coming to wrap things up, I probably will run out of the chance and time to oversee them. I'm just sorting out my laptop just so I can see your questions, so apologies. I was hoping to kind of do it on the laptop, and I have failed, but I did almost miss the time we were supposed to go live, so and I haven't done that, so that is fortunate. I'm now seeing myself in two places, which is very disconcerting. Lots to talk about though, of course. Let's see if I can brush it out. Yeah, keep those messages coming in. Thank you, appreciate those. Keep them coming, and I will definitely go through them in a tick. I did just want to flag up a couple of things if you haven't seen them on The Athletic, which are my feature from when I was covering Norwich City's pre-season tour in Germany. I disappeared for a day to Lippstadt to talk to a few people about Daniel Farke's time there. I spent 6 years as a player, and same again as sporting director and head coach at the same time. Now, of course, we're talking about a club at quite a lower level, but some of the stories that people were telling me about Daniel from his time there, it's really interesting, given that we've now seen him spend 3 years here at Norwich. Just in terms of what he does, how he goes about things. I think it was really great piece, really enjoyable. I've obviously read all the pieces on Lippstadt myself and Daniel's time there, but to actually go and ask people and speak to them about it and put something together from it, I just found fascinating. And there's quite a few pictures and bits I haven't really shared on social media yet, so I'll have to do that at some point, and I will as I continue to share the piece. But I hope you enjoy that. So make sure you give that a look. We've also got 3 pieces ahead of the season. There's my season preview, so it's like a column, you can get my opinions there. My strongest Norwich City 11, which is not the Norwich City 11 for the Huddersfield game, because Emi Buendia is suspended. That's a little spoiler for you, but it is, as I see, Norwich's strongest 11 at the moment. But earlier this afternoon, I tried to put down what I thought the 11 would be in the bench, just to sort of prepare, and I don't know how he's going to do it, because it's like about 20 players for the bench. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about him. Oh, and they've signed him. So that's going to be interesting. But Josh Martin is out injured, it's worth saying. He's got a tight hamstring. No, calf problem, which they picked up after Luton, but didn't go away this week. So he hasn't really trained. Xavi Quintilla is back after missing Luton. with a slight hamstring niggle, but he's fine now. Jacob Sorensen, I thought it was interesting. Daniel Farke today in his press conference said that Jacob was basically away for a week with Denmark, didn't play any football, and also didn't really train at the same level he would have done here. And I think in those situations, it's not obviously ideal. Different with Kenny McLean, who got some proper match time and kind of could treat it as an extra pre-season friendly, although no one would ever say that because it's international duty with Scotland, obviously. Sorry if I keep messing with my hair as well. I've had it cut and I haven't really done anything with it, but it is a sweet cut from Greg. There you go, a little nudge for you there. Greg, what a guy at Goodfellas in Portland. So, the preview, Strongest 11 and Breakthrough Act. No real surprises, Adam either, but they're all pieces there over at The Athletic. If you subscribe, I'm sure you've probably already seen them and enjoyed them. If you don't subscribe, we've had a really great week at The Athletic. We've got a new kind of live commentary news feed, which if you'd been a part of, you would have found out that Tim Closer only had a dead leg, and you would have found that out on Wednesday. I just left it there on Wednesday just to see if anyone would pick up on it. They're the sort of things you're going to get. Only news, no fanning around with stuff that might or might not happen. It's a proper commentary on what is happening news-wise around the club, which is possibly the only thing that The Athletic have been lacking, given we do such deep reads. So it's brilliant. It makes the app a real go-to stop. If you don't subscribe to The Athletic already, go and have a look, download the app, because there are deals to be had right now. This is the best time to sign up. And I say that having been employed by them since last July. So if you've sort of been umming and ahhing or thinking, well, I could do that, go do it and have a look now, because it won't cost you a lot of money and you will get a lot from it. And I'm not just saying that. I'm rabbiting on, but keep the messages coming and I will get stuck into them. I hope you're not too bored by me talking at you for a little bit, at least. That's all that. There is one little extra bit of housekeeping, if I may, before I get to your questions. Fantasy football, I have set up a Premier League team. Last season I did it just before the Liverpool-Norwich game, and then I didn't touch it for the rest of the season. So I do plan to do more with it. But a guy, Will, on Twitter, has decided that there should be a Michael Bailey League. There's already like 30 people signed up to it. So if you want to join that, please do. L6AD for Derek 9R is the code if you want to sign up. But there is also an athletic league as well, and there's loads of columns from our fantasy league general, which were brilliant last season. They're going to be brilliant again. So, and there's an athletic league, and you can beat us all at that, because basically if you participate in these leagues with me, you will beat me in them, because it's pretty straightforward to beat me at fantasy football. Right. Now we have a look at some questions. We had Daniel Farke's press conference today. Of course, it's Huddersfield on Saturday, which is tomorrow. I am in, so I'm looking forward to going. What we got? James Rushmore. Hello, James. Intrigued as to what Michael was saying as the thumbnail snap was taken. Well, I'd hate to reveal the secrets of my thumbnail. I just thought I'd make it interesting. So the fact you've asked that question makes me think it was marginally interesting, James. The real story behind it, though, is probably not. More to the point, did Charlie Gilmore pick up an injury on loan last season? Fully expected to see him in the mix this season. Yeah. I don't know if he would have been in the mix this season. He did really well at Telstar last year. Norwich were really happy with him. Really seemed to develop and kick on. I think they do try and assess it in terms of, the I think it was a Dutch second tier, isn't it, Telstar, and then what that means for kicking on. Does it mean that Norwich is next or to go somewhere else? Now the thing about Charlie is he did injure his back quite nastily, I think, actually, or fiddly. It was a fiddly injury, so he was out just before lockdown, maybe by a week or three, and then obviously lockdown happened, and I don't think he's recovered from it yet, which is why he hasn't been anywhere during pre-season. So the hope is still to get him out on loan, but it does depend on when he's fit and back. I haven't seen him in any of the 23s. He hasn't been in the first team group, and he didn't get a first team squad number, I don't think. So I would expect him to be loaned out whenever he's back fit. Maybe he'll return to Telstar, I don't know, but that's where he is, which is a shame, because Norwich have sort of tapped into a bit of success, I think, at the levels they're at currently with Arsenal, ex-Arsenal academy players, and they all seem to, if it's not working for them at Arsenal, seem to be jumping on the Norwich bandwagon a bit. So we will see, which I think flows into a question further down the list. Yeah, from Graham Turner. Is Matt Dennis far off the first team? I mean, he did join specifically because he's only 18, I think, so he's pretty young, and he's joined to be a part of the under-23s initially, obviously with a long-term view for the first team. So we will see. I mean, it might be, given the size of Norwich's squad, that even if he did really well over this first half of the season, he might train with the first team group, see how they get on, and then give them a loan somewhere. Because, you know, maybe you could get a loan at a really decent level and shine. What I will say, just from watching externally, he does seem to be doing well. He does seem to be making impacts and having really positive impacts when he is on the pitch, so at 23s level. So, you know, there's a bit of me that seems a little bit excited by what he can do, given he's so young and he's still got plenty of journeying to do. And bear in mind, Josh Martin is ahead of him at the moment, and he's made a similarly impressive rise so far. So it's good to see it being it working through like that. Mr. B. Nelson, hello there. What do you think the central midfield pairing will be this week? Now we have options: Tetty, Skip, Sorensen or McLean. I personally think it will be Ollie Skip in this slightly deeper role with Kenny McLean, but it might depend on how cautious Daniel Farke wants to be, because Alex Tetty is clearly the more secured option, much more Premier League and Championship experience, knows exactly what Daniel Farke will want. If he wants to play it carefully, then him and McLean seems a pretty solid base for everything else up the pitch. But if it was me, I would start with Ollie Skip, because in pre-season what I've seen is a really energetic, aggressive player who can sense danger, who really screened Norwich's back four well when he was on the pitch in pre-season, albeit it is pre-season, and also had really good progression of the ball, which I really liked, and knew kind of when to go, which, to be fair, Alex has done really well since Daniel Farke got stuck into him, actually, and really coached him. So it would be Skip and McLean for me, but I wonder if Daniel might be slightly tempted with Alex. I think it will be Skip. I think even Daniel might be tempted, but we'll still go with Ollie. And I think he could be a really big player this year. And that's surprised me a little bit how good he's looked so far. We'll see. Jacob Sorensen, I don't think is quite ready. I don't think he's quite there. And also, I think from what Daniel said at Colney today, the being away with the international setup and not really having time for the Norwich guys to get him back up to speed or get him better up to speed, I think that will show through tomorrow. There's a possibility he might not even travel because Norwich's squad is so huge. So we will see how that works out. Prediction for the bench tomorrow, Jez? No, I can't do it. Literally, I think it's on my laptop actually. I've just got my little graphic and I was like, okay, so McGovern in goal, yeah, well, Barley Mumble will then cover right back, obviously. This is basically assuming it's Krul, Aaron Zimmerman, Godfrey Kintia, Skip McLean, Hernandez, Dow, Cantwell, and then Pookie as the team. So you've got the 11, so you're like, okay, well, McGovern in goal, Barley Mumba then comes in as right back cover, brilliant. Ben Gibson, well, he can be centre back cover and he can also be left back cover if they really need it, so that's good. He's obviously short of match practice as well. But you could have Sam McCallum, I haven't worked out if it's McCallum or McCullum yet, but McCallum. Sam McCallum is then obviously great left back cover, look a bit raw, but you know, it'd be a great experience for him to travel with the group. Obviously, if Tetty doesn't start, he's clearly in the bench, and then Jacob Sorensen should, but does he? I don't know. He might not if they want to sort of work on him with some fitness, because he's not really done a lot over the last week. Mario Vrancic, yeah, I mean, clearly, you know, he should be in there. Then Marco Stiepermann, obviously. No Josh Martin, because he's injured. So you've got Przemysław Płacheta. Well, obviously Jordan Hugill and Adam Eder have to both travel, but then do both strikers go on the bench that is only of 7, don't forget. And I haven't even mentioned Daniel Sanani in all that. So at the moment I've got written down 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 substitutes, of which Josh Martin probably wouldn't travel. You could maybe take out Sorensen and McCallum if they need to spend time back in Norwich getting fit. That's still 11 to get into 7. And Emi Buendia is suspended. And Grant Hanley's injured, as is Sam Byram. So I think that just emphasises where Norwich are at in terms of their squad at the moment. Fairly ridiculous. But it's a good question, Jez. Let me know yours. I'd be keen to know yours. Amy Scones. Have you deliberately put... Oh, Scoons? Scoons, scone or scone? Scoons. Amy, nice to see you. or oh dear, it's been a long week. And we haven't even had any football yet. Yes, predict the bench. Oh yeah, I've just done that. The Revere end. Hello guys. Don't know which one of you it is, but hello. Thanks for coming on the for letting me on your podcast. By the way, if you haven't caught what the Revere guys do, check it out. It was great fun having a really good chat with them while I was in Germany. So you can hear that and all the other stuff, of course. What is Farke's biggest hurdle to overcome this season? I think it's the mentality of winning and settling for just being good in terms of their performances or just doing their processes well. Because I actually think this season it is about getting the results. I want to see them beat teams up, and I want to see them look relentless in their belief, and that's a huge challenge. So I think that is obviously major, and that revolves around whoever he picks on in the 11. Bear in mind that he's got a really tall order there to keep people happy, and he won't keep everyone happy because it's going to be physically impossible, and a few loans could probably help him out a little bit. So we'll see how that pans out, but of course we'll have to see who gets sold if anyone else is leaves or clubs come in for them. We'll have to see. 5 more minutes or so get your questions in quickly. I'll try and go through them, as many as possible. I hope you're enjoying this format. As I said before, I will do this every Friday evening, and I hope this time's okay with you guys. It's flexible, it's just easy for me at this moment in time. So let's crack through some more. Melinagword. Pukey? Who's that? Pookie? Tim or Pookie? Or Jordan Hugel? Who would you like to see start? Well, Tamu has to start for me. Jordan got a go at Luton. Didn't really work. I don't think that was his fault. He will be a great backup as things are now, and may well force himself to be a killer option. And likewise, Adamida, who has a huge amount of potential to do something special this year. But Tamu starts this season, and he starts at Huddersfield. And hopefully he's not tired from the international break, but I don't think he will be. Mr. Nelson, how do you think Daniel will set up defensively tight after a clear fragility at Luton at the back, or to continue to be open, expansive style Hugel as an option always? I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, that when Norwich went up 2 seasons ago, generally the first halves were pretty, well, there was a few where they ended up behind at half time, and they were generally solid without being spectacular, and then Norwich opened up in the second half. I do think there'll be an element of that. I think he will want them to make sure they're not losing at half time. And I know it's a stupid thing to say. Obviously, if they're ahead, it's great. But I feel like he'll want them to feel their way into the game and to create that resoluteness and resilience of like, whatever happens, you're not going to score against us, and we will then go and beat you. That's the sort of stuff I really want to see this year. So that is how I would like to see him do it. And I don't think they will be open and expansive in the first half. Who will score Norwich's first goal tomorrow? Simon Copperwheat. Great question, Simon. Love that. Completely futile predictions. Well, as I've said a few times now, Teemu Pukki has scored with his first shot on target in each of his last 8 seasons. So Teemu Pukki, first 10 minutes of the second half, his first shot on target, bang, 1-0, away we go, 3 points. Isja Howard, hello there. Who do you think is Farke's first choice centre-back pairing if all fit? Well, that's a great question, because theoretically Gibson and Godfrey are kind of on the same side, which would be the left. And I don't know if they'd want to start playing Ben on the right. And I do think there's probably still an element of where they are expecting to sell Ben between now and the window closing, which is still, of course, basically 5 weeks and 4 championship games away. But maybe he would play Ben on the right, Gibson on the left. If they sell Ben Godfrey, then it would probably be Hanley and Gibson when fit, but that's harsh on Christoph, and I think Christoph and Ben would work well together as well, to be honest. Difficult one. Sorry, Tim Closer. Finn Todd, although Emmy is suspended, any reason why he hasn't been training with the squad, or is that nothing to read into? It's a great question, Finn, and I hope this is one of the things that these Q&As sort of offer insight into, because there are things I won't tweet and things like this, and I should probably put this on The Athletic as well. As I said, get the app, it's going to have live news commentary. Emmy wasn't training, and I think he has got a slight knock, But by the same token, he is suspended. It was a long season last season. So I think they're willing to give him just a bit of time away. His wife, I think, or maybe girlfriend, I'm not sure, but his partner is pregnant with their second child as well. So there's a lot going on. But by all accounts, I think Emi's in a decent place. And by all accounts, I don't think he minds if he's still here, which is music to my ears. We'll just have to see if anyone else comes in for him between now and the window. It does surprise me, a player who had such remarkable output in a poor Premier League side. Not really been a sniff, which is interesting. But Emi spending next season at Carrow Road, especially if he's on it. So there we go. Don't read too much into it would be my point. QM being sold on Sunday. So that Cameron Gibbon, I hope that answers that sort of question for you. To me, Emi starts. I put my strongest 11 in, and that Emi always starts. So if Emi starts, you need pace on the other flank, which is why I wouldn't start in my strongest 11 with Todd Cantwell and Emi Buendia as well, unless you play Todd in the 10. But to be honest, Kieran Dowles looked better in pre-season, so he gets that nod. I am not a football coach. It's only my opinion. Todd is an interesting one. I'm not convinced he'll still be here by the time the window closes. I think it'll be a redundant argument, but we will see. Hello from Japan, Brandon. Hope you're well. Great to hear from you. Some info on Huddersfield. What can we expect tomorrow from Joachim? It's a great question. It is probably one of the trickier things covering in the Championship compared to the Premier League, because you do have to gen up. I think Carlos Corberán is trying to impose a Bielsa-style football that he's kind of assumed as his own reputation through the fact that he's worked with Bielsa at Leeds. He wasn't brought to Leeds by Bielsa. He was there when Bielsa got there. So it's curious. Huddersfield had something slightly similar under Wagner, but not really. They were much more pragmatic then. And obviously then they had Danny Cowley in between. So again, they're probably one of those sides that may have looked like they've cottoned on to what they're trying to do in pre-season, but doing that in the Championship against Norwich is going to be... I think Daniel will like it, because he'll probably be able to see how to exploit it, and hopefully his side will be slightly more together in terms of how to do that compared to Huddersfield trying to impose what they're trying to do on it. They've got some really good players, but they are missing... his names escape me. Grant, is it Kellen Grant? I think their striker is out injured, who's attracted a lot of interest from top clubs. So that's obviously a benefit. They've still got Harry Toffolo and Alex Pritchard, who'll be as a Norwich connection. Jonathan Hogg still in the midfield. He's a decent player. But, Huddersfield will be looking to finish it probably in mid to lower top half of the table, I would have thought. So I would expect Norwich to go there and put in a kind of performance, even this early in the season, that makes a point that Norwich are a better side, which they should be. So there we go. But we always know there's a surprise package in the Championship. A couple of more minutes. Thanks for all these questions. Rattling through. Cameron Gibbon, I answered that. Mr. Nelson again, prolific, I love it. Thank you for the question. Thank you all of you for your questions, because this would be pointless if I was just talking to myself. We haven't heard much on the transfer front for teams showing interest in our talent. Is it there, or have we scared suitors with rebuffing Jamal's early bid? I mean, I think it's interesting Jamal's gone, because I think he was the attainable one, if you like. I think Norwich would have set a value where other teams probably felt they could get Norwich down a little. And Norwich didn't mind. And I think that's not quite the same situation with Max and Ben and Emi and probably Todd. I think Norwich would want top dollar for all of those, so we will see. I'm sure there is interest, and things would happen pretty quickly. So whenever that interest sort of takes it up to another level, it will probably depend on how desperate the team is that wants to buy them, if I'm honest, and then how much they'll offer. It'd be really fascinating. But I don't know, because no one knows, because the interest is there, but it's sort of a bubble under, and no one will probably take it as serious at the moment. And as soon as it is serious, it will probably come out pretty quickly. Not necessarily from me. I can't be on top of everything first all the time, or even some of the time. But it will come out pretty quickly, I think, when interest really does accelerate. Keith Rose, do you think more clubs in general will fold? Surprised no casualties so far. Yeah, I mean, it has been bigged up about how difficult the situation is. Everyone's hanging in there. But then by that token, Premier League and League 1 and 2 haven't really played. So I think there are going to be some really difficult moments for clubs where they are going to have to play and they're still not getting people through the doors. Really difficult, and I really hope someone comes up with a manageable way of getting crowds into games that are done in biosecure situations, which does seem possible, but it's going to need the FA, Premier League and EFL to really get themselves together in terms of what that looks like, because as it is at the moment, it's not going to work. So I worry. I don't worry for Norwich, but I worry for the health of the game especially. So we will see. Brandon again. Teti or Skip? As I said, Teti I think is brilliant, but I think Ollie gets the nod for me for the first game, and we'll see Tets during the course of the season. Jez is slightly concerned Fark will play Dowell on the right. Well, I mean, it's a possibility. I don't think it's a bad possibility, to be honest. I wouldn't be worried about it because the right is quite a compact inside kind of a role, as long as the fullbacks are allowed to push on, which we know Max will. So I won't worry too much if that is the case, to be honest. Goals conceded either side of half time, set pieces conceded, late subs, which we reversed on the bingo sheet. The goals conceded either side of half time drives me absolutely mad, and has been an issue for 2 years. So we will see. But they are looking for continual improvement, given them a lot of leeway last season. This season, they are the things I want to see them improve. I don't want to see them looking shaky at the back, and I don't want to see them conceding silly goals if at all possible, and especially those habits. I want that improvement. So that's what I'll be demanding in all of my coverage this season. Buendia's fine. Don't worry about where he is. He's just getting a bit of break. I answered that one slightly earlier. Jez, you put in your bench. Well done. Barden. Oh, you've ditched McGovern, you harsh man. Mumba, Vrancic, Quaheta, Senani, Ida, Hugill. No Teti. Oh, no Stiepermann. No Sorensen. No Ben Gibson. You can tell him that. I'm not being mean. I'm just making the point. I don't know how he picks a bench. Any analysis done on home advantage with no crowds? Uncle Mort. Great question. There is some out there. But it wasn't a home advantage at the end of last season, because what we ended up doing was basically saying, well, Norwich's confidence is shot and they're coming up against teams that are better than Norwich, so that's that, which is fine. But obviously then this season, Norwich going away from home with no crowds and a team that's supposedly better than most of the other squads in the Championship, I expect them to go and win in this scenario. I can't have argued one thing and then have to argue the second thing going into these games. That's where I am at anyway. Wesley, hello Wesley. Prediction for tonight's game between Watford and Borough. I mean, Watford, as far as I'm concerned, are right up there. Players like Sarr still there. They've got a phenomenally talented squad. I think it's questionable how good the manager is. And Middlesbrough with Warnock, there's no logic to the assumption that he'll just take them back to the top six. But I can't stop myself thinking that's what's going to happen, if not more. So, and in a way, I'm kind of happy that Ben Gibson hasn't gone back to Middlesbrough, because I think that would have been a really good signing for them. So, I think Watford. I think it'll be a draw. I think Borough will pick up a point, and we all move on. Mr. Nelson, last ones. Thank you so much for getting involved. This is brilliant. I hope you're enjoying the format. 20 minutes max, Friday afternoon, sort of between 4 and 7-ish. And you'll be able to watch this all back as well on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to the channel to make sure you get notifications of when I'm doing this, because I do kind of try and set it up in advance. And obviously you'll then get my video verdict. And you can ask me anything on any video. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I possibly can in various different forms. Mr. Nelson, if you had to say now, where do you think we will finish? Where are you putting your money? Still confident of winning it? We've got the ingredients to do so. Look, the only thing that slightly concerns me is if they sold Ben Gibson, if they sold Ben Godfrey. I'm going to do that a lot this season. If they sold Ben Godfrey, Emmy, Todd, and Max, and you start going, okay, well that's a lot of quality we've just lost. If that sort of thing happens, then yeah. But as they are, with the squad they are, the experience they've got, and a head coach has done it before, and I've said it before, I'm really confident and comfortable in saying it. They should win the division. Certainly finish in the top two, but there's a should, and the should then relies on obviously injuries, fitness, but mentality and how Daniel Farke keeps everyone happy and just disintegrates that horrendous feeling of last season, and makes sure when there are setbacks on the pitch early in this season that they don't affect them. So it's interesting. I've started watching All or Nothing with the Tottenham Hotspur version. It's interesting how the thing Jose Mourinho almost always says to his group in team talks is nothing can affect you during the game. Nothing can affect your confidence. Nothing will affect that during the course of the game. You are untouchable effectively in that. And that is definitely in essence I hope Daniel Farke is telling his players in the dressing room. Yes, Jez, Watford squad list is very good, but I think there may be more business that they will do, and maybe a few more players who do want to get back to the Premier League. But we'll see. I'm done. Thank you so much for joining me. We've pushed on to half an hour. That disappoints me greatly, but the good thing is we'll be back again next week, next Friday. Join me then. I will be at Huddersfield on Saturday. I will see you there through all the various means. Let me know your thoughts. Keep leaving your comments, and I'll have a spew through them as we go along. Join the Fantasy League, which I plugged earlier, and if you haven't, sign up and get the Athletic app, because I'm not just saying this, there is I can see it now, the gap that there was in football coverage and the way that my colleagues have filled that over the last 12 to 15 months. I'm very proud to work for them. And I really think if you're a real football fan who really loves the stories of what goes on in the game, it doesn't have to be just Norwich City, but all across the board, I honestly think you couldn't really do without it. I'm done. Take care of yourselves. Hope you're all safe and well. Fingers crossed for tomorrow. First win in 13 games. You heard it here first. I've forgotten how to end this video. I forgot last time how to end it. Have a lovely time. See you up in Huddersfield. Cheerio.